What's happening? This is the Tap In podcast. We are live inside of the Tap In studio. Man, I got a special guest in the building, like my little sister almost. Been knowing this girl almost 20 years. I can't believe it. Miss Portia Williams. What's up, Portia?
Hey.
What's going on? How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good.
I can't complain.
Thank you for tapping in with us.
Yes.
Thank you for tapping in with us. What is that on your teeth? Are those diamonds?
Yeah, they're jewels.
Those are dope. Yeah. You're trying to have a little swag?
Yes.
I like it.
Some people don't notice them until later.
No, I noticed right away. Yeah. What's going on?
That's I feel like those are a result of my coming to or an awakening.
Did you put those like not solder them on, but kind of like, how do you put them on?
So they're just glued on because I can change the color.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I didn't get permanent ones. Although permanent ones are really, really cute. But I was like, what if I change my mind?
I wonder if I can. That's kind of dope.
You can do like different designs, like different shaped jewels. Like some girls will do like butterflies, like crazy stuff.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Where you get them from?
I got mine from this company called Jimsy's. Well, I got the glue from them.
Oh, okay.
But like,
can you taste the glue like when you first put it on? No.
Mm-mm. I mean, you got to get them on there good because they'll pop off. Like if you're eating, it's like braces glue. I
had braces before, but I don't remember how they put them on. I don't know what they.
Remember they would like they put the little stuff on and then they stick it on and they put the light.
Yeah. And you have to do that the same way?
Yeah, you put a light. They give you like a little light, everything.
Really?
Shout out to Jimsy's.
Okay. Sponsorships. Sponsorship. Okay.
Right. But yeah.
That's dope,
That
man.
was like I did that at the end of last year. I started it. Yeah.
And you just started putting them on. What other designs that you put on? Are they just the
I just
jewels?
changed the colors.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like
what colors have you had?
I've put on green before. However I felt. Like I had like a diamond color, like so silver looking. These are more like iridescent pink. I think these are my favorite ones.
Yeah, they kind of like shine like you almost got a grill.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe it's the lights.
So I want to ask you something before we jump into my conversation that I really want to have with you. I just want to get your opinion on this as a woman. Okay. So this whole thing with Diddy that's going on, I've been watching it. Have you been watching it? Have you been paying attention or no?
I get pieces just from like when I'm on Instagram, and of course I follow 50 Cent, so
yes, okay.
Most of my news comes from 50 when I see it and I just chuckle.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah. Here's my thing, because it was somebody else is suing him, a lady that said she was, I don't know, sexually assaulted or what happened when she was 17. This was in 2000, I think she said 2. I think she said 2002, 2003 sometime. I think she was sexually assaulted. Then the pictures came out of her sitting on his lap. And it was like, wait, you sitting on his lap? And I just want to ask, as a man to a woman, right? Is there a difference between aggressively flirting and like being like mannish, kind of like, is there like, because I know for men, we kind of like, when we want to talk to a lady, it's like we want to let her know that, hey, we interested, but sometimes it can cross a line, you know what I mean? And I just want to know what is a safe space for men to kind of like, I guess, flirt with women.
Donte, you know who you're asking that question
I know.
to. You know I'm probably not like anybody.
I know that, but I just want to get your...
There's many layers to that.
I know.
So, being that I was in the industry very young, very, very young. When I was signed, young. Most people probably don't look it up. I'm not even gonna say who I was signed to. Don't go looking. We saw a lot, the girl group I was in. We've actually had meetings and sat down together, like even in the studio. Some of the things that we were exposed to and saw. And mind you, I was signed initially when I was like 8 through 13. And we did a lot of work with a lot of big names that were directly connected to Puff, but like not him per se. But some of the things as we've sat, now that we're women, we're like,
that was inappropriate.
Normal to be doing in front of kids. But becoming a woman, I feel like a lot of women today are very lost. You can't always put it on the guy. No, I'm not victim shaming. Is that what it's called? But I do know there are certain types of women who are attracted to the money, the power, right? Because they're chasing something, they're trying to fulfill a void, I think. And they think that money, power, status is it. It's unfortunate that any woman would stay in a situation long enough for that.
Listen, I know it. I just know the kind of emotional ties. I understand that part that women have when they, dealing with somebody.
It is, because you can feel like, you love him but some of the things that they're saying, okay, like my dad, very young, he would have wrung my neck if I sat on a dude's lap. My father, very young, said, even when you get of age to go to the club, if you're going to reject a man, you need to do it with grace, because males have egos, right? You don't just front a dude off, and girls often think you can knuckle up with a dude who's like,
yeah, they do.
Yeah. And I think that's inappropriate. Like you can do, you can be, you can say whatever you want to say with kindness. I personally would have never ran or been in that circle. To me, from very young, that Puffy or somebody with a name wouldn't be somebody that I'd be interested in. Why? Because there's a million women after them. Why would he stay with you and like you be able to tell him no? Like there's 50 other girls that'll do it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Well, for men, what would you say is like a line where it's like, hey, flirting is okay,
like
but
him receiving it from a woman, or
no, women receiving it from men, just in general, not necessarily Puff, but just men in general. Because for me, I'm kind of getting. I mean, I'm married, so I'm way out the game. But I'm just thinking, like, for just men in general, I don't understand what the line
women,
is.
Yeah, because some women, I mean, it's unfortunate for you guys. I'm being straight up, because women, we're so emotional. Men are very logical. Women, it is hard for us. I actually had a situation recently. Because, like I said, I don't want to be rude, but it's a no. But if he's asking in a room full of people, or he's trying to, it's like, I don't want to tell you, because everyone's going to know I said no. But when a woman says no, I think men need to realize, like, so my no came by way of, yeah, I'm not ready. Like, I'm not, with where I am, I'm not really ready for that. He then comes back with an analogy of swimming. Like, every person, when a swimmer's learning to swim, when they first get in the water, they're scared. But if they have a good instructor, they can become a great swimmer. But no, I said, I don't think I'm ready. Then you get to a point as a woman, you're like, okay, so does this dude need to be told, no, I don't want to do it. Like, I don't like you. I'm trying to say it. And I don't like, well, back in the day, I was okay with being rude. Today, I'm not okay with being rude. So I just tried to be nice. But it's a no. You can when a woman wants you, she will show it. Unfortunately, there are a plethora of women. Some women are very aggressive. I get nervous having sons because they're very aggressive. Some are, I want it. I'm gonna try to show you I could, but real women aren't. I don't want to say real women. Certain women wouldn't do that. Like they don't need to flaunt it.
Yeah.
And if I just say no, thank you, let it be no, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. I hear what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but there are in some instances where a man has, personality his way into, a girl liking him. You know what I mean? So that's
trying to convince her or like
persistence.
Impress her or being. Yeah, but it's, if you're going to do that, you got to just read the room, because if she's like ghosting you and she's not answering, like just let her.
Just let it go.
Because we girls or women get in our friend circles and we're like, I said to him, and they'll be like, what? Why was he still? I don't know. And it's like, do I have to say, dude, no. With this, like, I don't want that. I don't want that. You're cool, but. And then, some men do get mad. Like, if you make me get to a point where I say no, then they want to, be upset about the no, but just don't. Like, recently, I'm like, after dude, I was like, I don't want any. Just don't look. I don't want it. I don't want it. I'm okay.
Okay.
I don't want it.
Oh, yeah. I think it's tough. Some men can be super aggressive. You know what I mean? I think that's, I don't know. I think that is.
Since my ordeal, I've experienced a
aggressive
new level of weirdness.
Really? Where there's aggressor?
And my dad called it.
Really?
Yeah. I guess once we get into that, that's something we can touch on.
Come on, let's go. Let's get into it. So, Portia was married to my frat brother.
Yes.
How long were you guys married?
We were married for 8 years.
8 years.
Yeah, together for 13.
How did I want to go back. How did you guys? I know you guys met at Prairie View.
No, we didn't meet at PV.
Y'all didn't?
No, I only ever heard of his name. I
What?
knew because I got there 2000. He graduated 2000. So when I was there, I would hear the name. Oh, there's this Kappa named Ray. I heard his name before, but I didn't. I didn't know of him until, we ended up, I went to homecoming 2009, 2008. I went back. I flew back. And, of course, me and my crew at the time, we went to a party that the Kappas were throwing. It was, like, off the yard or somewhere in Houston. And it's so funny. I have pictures of me dancing that night. And in one of the pictures, his shoe was in it.
Really?
And he was asking,
how do you know it was a shoe?
Well, once we were, dating or whatever, he was like, I was there, But he had asked somebody, who is that? Do you know who that is? And just, because I never seen him. And then in that December, the December of that year, he ended up sending me a message on Facebook because me and my best friend had got into this big fight. So I was on my mom's couch. My mom's couch. And I had put on Facebook something like, I can't believe it's New Year's and I'm on my mom's couch. And he replied, I'm on my mama's couch too. And I was like, I remember him giving me the friend request. And I was like, I don't know him. I was like, but he's cute. I'll accept his friend request. And he went to Prairie View. I didn't know who he was. And then I replied, and you know me, Donte. If I don't know you, I'm not talking to you. I don't.
Yeah.
I actually was like, you're on your mom's couch too? And he didn't reply. So I had a vendetta. I said, I'm going to make him talk to me and then I'm going to ignore him. How dare you?
You going to make him talk to you, then ignore him.
That was the goal. How you going to not reply to what I said? I'm being nice replying to what you said on my stuff. So I was like, and I didn't even know you when I accepted your friend request.
Okay.
So after that, I think I said, it was like in the early January, and I think I said something, and he didn't say anything again. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy is a jerk. And then he finally replied, and he was like, just call me and talk to me. And I was like, I'm going to make him like me, and then I'm going to be like, because I knew he wasn't in Cali.
Yeah.
And then there we were. And he was like, my plan worked, didn't it? It was whatever. Yeah, he was cool.
So you guys met in 2009.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And then
Well, you guys didn't even really meet in 2009 if I'm following the story.
So we would talk on the phone. We would talk on the phone every day. And Aslan wasn't, he wasn't like a talk. He didn't talk. He would talk if he liked you, but he wasn't on like a phone person. And we talked for 3 months, and it got to a point where I was like, does this dude even like me? Because he didn't flirt. He didn't say like, you're pretty, nothing. He would talk like I was his homegirl every day. Until a friend of mine, a dude, wanted me to go on a cruise with him. And I was like, you know what? I'm single. I could go on a cruise. And so I told my homeboy, I was like, yeah, a friend of mine wants me to go on a cruise. And he ended up saying, he was like, I don't want you to go. What? Whoa, buddy. Whoa, what do you mean? And he was like, I don't want you to go because I think I'm falling in love with you.
What?
Yeah, Aslan.
What?
And after that, he was like, and is it cool if I fly to Cali and like we just hang out? Yeah.
What?
Aslan, of all people.
See, you call him Aslan. I know him as Ray.
I know it's Ray. Ray.
know him as, I know him
His
as
family
Ray.
says Ray.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and so when do you make the transition? I mean, I guess y'all dating back and forth. You flying here.
Yeah, we were flying back and forth.
So when do you make the transition to move to Texas?
So we did that for like a year.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't know. It was like on a whim. Like, I'd move to Texas. And he was like, are you for real? I'm like, yeah, if I move there and I don't like you, I'll move back home.
Okay.
And we did it. Like, we did it. I moved here.
And what year did you move here? 2011?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Like 2011.
So you've been almost here almost 15 years, huh?
So no, that will be
14?
what, 12?
Huh?
That would be 12 years because it's 2023.
So from 2011.
2023.
Okay, so 12 years. My
Yeah.
math is off. Okay. Dang.
Yeah.
Okay. And you guys had 2 kids together.
2 babies. I have my oldest, which he's my bonus kid. He just turned 18. Can't believe it. Makes me feel old.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
My bonus baby.
Yeah.
So 2 boys and a girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy. I'm finding all this. Now, unfortunately, Ray passed away last year.
2 days after his birthday.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I remember that. That's what, when we was at the service, that's what like kind of really like caught my attention. I was like, dang, his birthday was just 2 days ago.
45. Just 45 for 48 hours, literally. Yeah.
So I want to ask you, Portia, and I want to apologize in advance if some of my questions are kind of like insensible or like empathetic, because my nosiness wants to take over me being sympathetic to you, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So some of these questions may
If they're weird, I'll be like, I'll tell you, I'm not answering.
Okay. So I know can you speak about how you found out that the whole passing and like, how did you find him? Like,
let me see how I could say it. So, it was, so for 10 days, Aslan was, hindsight is 2020, but he was completely somebody else. I had never met that person.
In what kind of way?
In the most beautiful way.
Really?
Everything was it was almost as if those memories for 10 days, he was like floating around. Anything that would have normally, we were married, anything that would have normally got on his nerves and, he just would tell me, he was like, I just love you. I want you to know I love you more than anything. I love you more than anything in life, Portia. Get out of my face. Kid, like, why is he being so lovey?
Yeah.
And even with the kids, with our children, like he was the 2 little ones. He was just watching them play and wrestling with them. He always did that. He was a very hands-on dad, But everything was so gentle. And you know us.
Yeah, because I know a different kind of Ray than you. I know.
Yes.
I know,
no, I knew him too.
Okay.
I knew him too.
I know gang bang.
Yeah,
that,
he didn't care who. Yeah, he didn't care who.
I know a rougher Ray than you do.
Yes, he didn't care who. That was still in there.
Yeah.
But for 10 days,
Yeah.
of the last 10 days of that man's life, it's amazing. I often say, like, if I could go like that, he had some sort of epiphany in his life. Was very clear about it. Very, very clear about it. The night before he passed, he told me, as we were watching our kids play. Now, they were doing something that normally would have got them in trouble. They were like running and just jumping in the couch with like a big couch, jumping, boom, and just jumping. Usually, he'd be like, hey, and he's just watching them. And I'm like, oh, he's just gonna let them. Okay, he's feeling good tonight. And he ended up, he was like, Portia, can you do me a favor? And I was like, what? I was like, what? And he's like, with Zylan, which is the baby boy, he was like, with him, can you, if he tries to do something, whatever it is, let him do it himself before you try to help him. He was like, let him ask you for help, okay? I was like, I don't care. Like, you're his dad. Fine, whatever. And he made me stop. He was like, no, Portia, look at me, please. This is hours before he was going to leave. And he was like, no, if he tries to do something, have him do it on his own. He needs to do that. Do it for me, okay? All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then that night he also said something that was really weird. You never know, you'll find love again. You never know, the love bug might bite you again, Portia. The love bug. I ain't no way I'd ever do this again. I'm normal.
Yeah.
He was on a different frequency. And then hours. So the next day I went into work, came home, and he was already gone. He had passed in the morning.
Jeez.
So there was a lot of trauma with that, right? Like, your person is alive, they're warm, you leave, and you come home, and they're not in there anymore. And I knew as soon as I hit the game room upstairs that you could see his face, like he was gone. I've had to work through that. And of course, 911 makes you, do CPR. I knew he was gone. There was nothing.
Really?
He had been gone since the morning.
And you touched him and felt that, or you just see?
No,
it?
I had to touch him. I had to try to get him on his back and like CPR, and what you see, what you hear. I don't know how people work like in morgues, and that was very traumatic.
I can. Oh man,
like gut wrenching. That day, the moment me finding him is very clear, but after, it's like snapshots. I just remember, it just so happened that the fire department, the chief would happen to be on that call. And of course, detectives and stuff have to come because they were like, he's so young. So in my own house, I can't move around because they don't know if it's a crime scene or not. That was traumatic too. Like, oh my God, like, what do you mean? I just got home. Thank goodness we have, cameras and security and all that. But I couldn't move around once they got there. And I was so out of my mind. I never had been in shock before until that moment. And I remember the chief, she kept telling, she would get in my face, she would tell the detectives, like, give me a second. And she would say, you're not breathing. She had to remind me to breathe like 4 times. I didn't even know I wasn't breathing.
Really?
She hasn't taken a breath. So your body becomes like very disjointed. So I just remember snapshots of that. It was unreal. And then I was in shock for probably months.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I can't even imagine coming home and finding my loved one laid out like that. Like, you know what I mean? And where are the kids? What are the kids doing? Do they even understand in that moment or what's going on with all these ambulance, police, and everybody? Are they even
They
comprehending?
were so calm. Even now, like, cause I did know once I came to a little, like after the night, cause most people that I talked to that day, I just remember trying to call his sister first. She didn't answer. Then I called the next brother, the brother right under him. He didn't answer. And then I got his younger brother. I remember talking to him, but I don't remember what I said. And then most people were like, you called me. Like, I did. I don't remember any of it. I knew my kids were okay. Like the officers had them and they took them into the master bedroom, but they even kept them like separate from me just in case. But I did know that they needed. I was like, my babies can't be crazy. All I kept thinking was Dexter. You remember the movie? The show?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, my kids. So I did know. I think in that night, I was so in shock. I couldn't. I don't even remember if I slept or I think I slept. I think I put him in the shower. I think that I gave him a shower. I don't know, but I did know. I was like, my babies can't be crazy, so I have to tomorrow, and that's just the mommy in you. Ensure that their mental health will be okay. That was like next day. They gonna be all right. Like I was like, they ain't gonna be like so. And I do also think the presence of God was very much there in that moment. Very, 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 very.
Yeah.
And it just hasn't.
How did you try to make sure that the kids' mental health was okay the next day? Like, what did you do?
Oh, I started to research, and I mean, of course, everything is moving.
Yes.
Like people are wanting to, and you know, I'm private. Like. I let people see I'll let you see what I want you to see of my life, but no one knows my real life, right? So people are wanting to come over, and I'm like, friends are calling, families trying to fly in, and it was a lot. But I knew where do children get therapy from? I started to look up that stuff like the very next day.
Really?
Yes. And it just so happens there's not a lot of children's therapists that deal with that type of trauma. So I ended up, I want to say within that week, they got on a waiting list.
Really?
Oh, I wasn't playing. And Zylan at the time, he was too young because he was 4. So most people only see them at like the age of 5. So there isn't any for like babies. But he would be 5 in September. So he was on the waiting list just in time.
Goodness gracious, man. And how are you? Like, I know once the mommy mode kick in, it's not even about you no more. It's about the babies. But once you kind of got them, like, okay, they're good. How are you now? Because now your whole life is changed. Like,
but you don't realize it in that moment. In that moment, I didn't realize it. I didn't realize how changed. You don't realize that like that.
You don't.
No, everyone's around. Everyone's calling. Then you have to start planning, right? So you got to immediately get on the business side of it, which sucks. Like insurance, funeral. The coroner just picked him up, and you gotta talk to. We live up north, so it's not as busy as like Dallas County. So they were able to do the autopsy the very next day. I have the what is he called? What's that doctor?
Not the coroner.
Yeah, he's the doctor. I can't think of the name right now. It escapes me. I still have brain fog. But he calls me the very next morning. That was another traumatic call.
Not the mortician.
No, he's the medical examiner.
Oh, okay.
So he calls because, of course, the county needed the detectives. They needed to see. He's gone. Why did you? People are crazy. Was he injected with something? Did you kill him? That's their main thing that they're trying to. They're trying to
weed that out first, and then.
So they got back to them like 8 early a.m. So he calls me the medical examiner, he calls me himself, and he's like, hey, the way he was speaking was almost as if he was working on him and looking in his body while he was on the phone. Like, it wasn't like, oh, so when I did it was like, yeah, because in here is this, it was his heart. So he was like, yeah, he's had a heart attack before. And, because that's his job. So it's very matter of fact. I was like, and he's like, so crazy question, I can see the cause of death, but do you want me to go into his head?
Go into his head? Like examine his head?
His brain. Like, do you want me to saw open his skull and look in his brain? This is your husband.
Yeah.
I said, and that's a decision that as a wife you have to make. I was like, if you could see what was wrong with him, leave him. Like, and so, I mean, even those words, it's like, I'm talking about him. About him.
Yeah.
I had to make the calls. I had to call. I had to plan. I had to coordinate and flowers. And he had always said jokingly, he would annoy me. When it's time for us to die, I'd be like, Lord, please take me. What am I gonna do with these kids? I don't know what to do with the kids and this. You do too much for me. You can pay the bills. He would always joke like that. It's like, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do all this. I gotta go first.
Really?
You were such a jerk face. Yeah. Yeah.
That's that dark Ray humor that
you'd be like, I can't do all that. Like, what? And so I cried, even when I've like glanced at the video of the service, I was there, but I wasn't. That wasn't it. I didn't fully fall apart until the house finally got quiet. People weren't coming anymore. My phone was silent. The kids got into school, and my job, thank God, like they were amazing. I had all the time I needed. And that very first day, I'll never forget it. It was like, people say they, in heartbreak or something like that, you can be shattered. I was a shattered thing can be glued back together, and it still resembles its shape. I was not shattered. I was ground into dust. That's what that day felt like. I was nothing, and I died that day. That Portia, she doesn't exist anymore.
Golly. In what way do you mean by that? Like that Portia doesn't exist no more.
This is, it's so funny. I remember seeing like Lauren London, Vanessa Bryant, other women, even that I worship with, that lost their husbands. And I remember seeing them and being like, that is so sad. What would you do? Like, that's crazy,
Mm-hmm.
It is truly the darkest journey, and it's by yourself, because all the while my husband was so loved, I didn't even know he had as many friends as he had. Like, all them people that showed up, just a rainbow of people. And he was making friends with the people at the auto place and the this and the that. Like, I didn't even know he made that many friends, because at home I wanted to kill him most days. I did. He knows it. But to see how loved he was, what he put out into the world, how people received him, and then to now go through this life, and that was at the very beginning. The journey, I didn't even realize how long this was gonna be. Like, it was like, okay, I'm gonna heal from it, That day, it was like, oh no, there's no healing and putting back together the same way. You're gonna be somebody totally different, because it has been like a mirror held up to myself in 4K. It has made me examine myself as a woman, examine myself as a mother, examine myself spiritually, who I was as a wife. It was truly, I like to say today, an awakening, or like now I'm finally alive. I see what is important. I knew that day that I had to surrender a full. People say they surrender. I couldn't have. I didn't know what to do next. I have a whole house, like a big house. It's big too. I have a whole house. I have cars. And sometimes as women, we don't. I didn't give my husband the credit he deserved. And as women, because we're so emotional, we see those surface things. You're not doing this, and da 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 da. You don't make me feel. I don't feel like I want. You're not loving me right, and you didn't touch me right, and you didn't come in, and you didn't, bring flowers. Like all of the things that women we need, but when it happens, like it's just not that deep. It's not that important. I feel like I was married to him all of that time, but in death, I see him so clearly, and I'm so thankful that he chose me. There are times that I'm like, someone to love me like that, and I'm just talking about the little things he's like left behind for me. How he handled his business, what he did with his sons, it was like divinely placed. And he was cool with it. He was cool with where his life was. And he was like, okay, it's time to go. And he accepted. He's the only person I've ever known. And like you said, you knew my husband. Gangbanger, he would fight anybody. Yeah. Aslan would fight anybody, for the record. My husband would fight anybody. But he's the only person I've ever met in life that never wavered when it came to Christ. Ever. He would mess up, and he knew who the source was. He knew where the source of all power comes from. And in my shattered moment, I was like, I have to surrender because I can't do this. 2 children, I can't do this. I said, God, you're going to have to carry this one. And every crooked line, everything I was worried about, everything, and that's in my day-to-day life, God has taken care of.
Really?
In a very Harry Potter way, magical way. Yeah.
The crazy thing about, or one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on is because I do follow you on social media. I've never seen somebody that was so outspoken on their feelings about grief or feelings about death. Like usually the people who I experience, because I fortunately, I haven't experienced death that close to me. You know what I mean? And so a lot of times when I'm talking to other people who have, I don't know what to say. I don't know what they're feeling. I don't know what's going on. So from the outside, I'd be like,
what do you say?
Yeah, what do you say? Like, how do you...
And what's so crazy in widowhood, many things happened, right? Like, most people have no idea what to say to me. So it makes it even more lonely. But then again, some people you don't want to talk to.
Yeah. So it's a weird.
I don't want to talk to you about it. But it's... people fall away. Because they don't know what to say. I don't know what to say to her. Talk normal, right? Some people don't. In my grief, it makes me feel really good to talk about him. I've made it a normal, daily thing to talk about. My kids, I'll be like, in our house, he had he used to always make me do our yard was immaculate. I don't know if you remember seeing that on social media. Our yard was the best yard in the neighborhood, not just on the street. Okay, and he would get up in the morning and he would on my yard. I was like, you're like one of them people that get your scissors and be like, it was so annoying. And he had every tool, right? But every time he would go get a Black & Decker, or whatever, he'd be like, Portia, get up, come try it. I don't want to use that. I don't want to touch it. And he'd be like, no, you going to get up, throw him some clothes, and I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm from Cali. When do we buy property at home, Donte? The property in California is $20 million. We're used to living in apartments. People tend to the grounds. We don't use I've never used a lawnmower, let alone the little edger trimmer tree thing. He has the big long pole that cuts the branches. So all of these things, when I tell you we would have for real arguments, he'd be like, I don't care. Get up so I can show you how to do it. Mm-hmm. Now my yard ain't immaculate. I don't have time. I'm be a mom. But when it gets bad, I be like, ooh, he would be so mad. So I get out there. I be having my edger with my little glasses on. Yeah. He taught me how to use every tool. I have every tool. So in the house, when I can't find something, right, it could be one of the little size for a Phillips screwdriver or whatever. He'd be like, I'll be like, where did your dad put this? And the kids are like, oh, Daddy would always leave stuff everywhere. He did. And so some of the stuff, I haven't gone in and like reorganized it. He knew where all of his stuff was. But like, when I tell you, I have like the foam to like fill, behind toilets, like the spaces in the wall. Yeah. I literally have caulking. Home Depot at our house. I have caulk. One is foam. I have caulking too. Oh, okay. To fix where the grout is. Yeah. I have that. And he showed me how to do all of it. He's so annoying. And I used to fight him. I would fight him. I don't want to do that. Little did I know I was being prepared. And every single piece I've been able to. And I giggle now when I have to do.
Yeah.
And, the little weed sprayer. Oh, I used to be so annoyed. My hand would get tired. He'd be like, "I'm gonna go do the front, start spraying the weeds back." I'm not one of the kids. I don't want to do it. I don't want to. It's my Saturday. No, and Saturdays we get up and we take care of the yard. Okay, Aslan. Oh. And so my little hand would get tired. But matter of fact, just the day before yesterday, I was out there spraying my weeds. Yeah. I know how to do it. He showed me.
That's super dope, man. That's super dope.
But like I was saying, I feel like women, sometimes we don't give guys credit for things like that, right? Like many, many times, and this is an analogy I've just recently given one of my friends. Men are protectors. So when he comes home and he's tired, men aren't emotional like we are. So you guys don't come home and be like, this was wrong, and they did that, and da-da-da. Men aren't going to say it. He may seem somber. He may seem quiet. He may seem like he has attitude, but he's not going to
verbalize it.
Yeah, if he's walking in masculine energy. He's not gonna. Aslan wasn't that, but he would have attitude. I'm like, what's wrong with you? And then here I come. But little did I know, he's like standing in life, the life of our family, and he's taking missiles to the front. Boom, 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 boom. And then you come home and your wife is behind you as you take your missiles, and she's like giving you an uppercut and jabbing you, I see that now, and a lot of women do that, and we do it unknowingly. And that's one of the things that I regret, because thinking that dude did his job. He left his family in a beautiful way. Like, I'm not in a beautiful way. Yeah. Like some men don't handle their business and they're not doing what they're supposed to do. Like he took care of his family, his children, all three of them. Yeah. Rain, sleet, or snow. Wasn't nobody going. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, that is... I can't even imagine. And sometimes my wife get mad at me the same way that you got mad at Ray. Mm-hmm. And it's like, for me, I don't even want to argue about it. So I just say, you know what? Don't even worry about it.
That was him.
I don't even want to argue.
Because men aren't verbal, right? Like women, our word game, you guys can't compete. We boom, 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 we'll throw it right back at you. You have no chance, right?
Yeah.
But, I always just say, I feel like I have so many things to say, so many things I want to say to women. Because, you guys get on our nerves a lot. But if you believe in God and you feel like God gave him to you, it really doesn't matter what he does. It doesn't. If you decided to say yes, if you decided to marry him with you, him, and God being the center, your loyalty, your devotion, your faithfulness should be in Christ. And in that, if you're loving God the way you're supposed to, what he does, God will handle. And because, I mean, me and Ray had plenty of, you know how fiery I was. I wasn't always,
Yeah.
nice.
Have you ever, this is something I'm just curious about. Have you ever thought about like talking to a medium to kind of like
No.
talk to him? No?
No, he's come to me in dreams. Because biblically, that stuff is, God never says, that's another part of my awakening. I study God's word like daily. I don't miss a day. I have truly awakening, understanding what my purpose in this life is, understanding that even my children are not mine. All these things that we hustle for, drink, blah, blah, it will all wither one day. It's not forever. There is a forever, but that's what's next. This is the precursor where you get to decide where your forever is spent. And so many people are lost and still in darkness because they don't understand. And I feel like my understanding has come through him passing away. Because I had no other source. I had no other source of help to provide or soothe this. So God never says that like mediums, astrology, prophet, whatever, that stuff isn't real. It's real. It's in the Bible. It's real. But it is, he says, don't mess with it. If you want to know something, ask me and I will give you the answer. And he has every time I've asked. Aslan came to me the first time in a dream, and he didn't say anything. It was so real. And it was probably around this time last year. And I don't know if you remember, he would get on my nerves because I'd be like, why don't you just buy one jacket? like a pea coat. He would always have to put on his little hoodie and then like the puffy jacket and then a beanie. Like you have he just would. That was his thing. And so in the dream, he comes, he has that on, and he's like pacing as if like I'm waiting for someone to arrive. I arrive, but he's at a distance. I see it's him, but he's walking. He kind of does a double take, like, oh, it's her. And he didn't say anything, but I could feel what he was saying. I could feel it. And he just starts waving. And he was smiling. He was like, and once he saw, I could see him because I know you're not here. You're not alive anymore. He then is like, what he said was, he was like, well, he didn't say it. He's like, what did he say? He was like, he was like, oh, she could see me. You could see me. She could see me. She could see me. It's working. It's working. And he was like, the biggest smile ever. And I was like, you're not supposed to be here. And he was like, Portia, stop crying. That's what I could feel, but he's still just waving. Stop crying. Stop crying and do what you need to do to get here. That's all he said. And he's just waving the whole time. And I'm just looking like, what? Do what you need to do to get here. I didn't know what that meant at the time, but I think I know.
What?
It's very deep.
It is.
Because his spirit was very strong. Aslan's spirit was very. Don't even get me on. So DeMarcus.
Peterson.
No, not Peterson. Other one. He was before Aslan. He was the
from I think 96.
Yes.
Yeah.
He designed my logo, right?
He designed mine too.
Isn't he awesome?
Yeah.
Thank you, DeMarcus.
Yeah.
But no, I had never met him. I never met him. I didn't even know there was a Kappa named DeMarcus in New York City. He ended up reaching out to me during the time that we were, and he's an amazing artist. Plug. He's an amazing artist. But anyway, he was like, can I design his obituary? It's like, what? It's like, he said, at first I wasn't going to say nothing, but I feel like he's saying to him, this is his own story. I need you to design my obituary. What? And I'd never heard Aslan mention, he's mentioned all kinds of Kappas, but like, I was like, who is he? At first I thought it was Peterson. He was like, I'm not Peterson.
Yeah.
I was like, so he does it, and as he's designing, I'm sending him pictures. And I was like, I'm corresponding with the Kappas and da-da-da. And he's like, at some point he was like, I kept hearing, it's not done. Wait for one more picture. It's not done. And he was like, I feel like this N-word was designing his own obituary. I said, stop it. He was like, no joke. Like, I know it sounds crazy. And he's one of many people. Aslan's spirit is very strong.
Because Austin, you
Ray.
You got me calling him Austin.
Okay, I'll try to say Ray.
Because Ray, he was in graphic design too, right? Yeah.
He's the one, DeMarcus had told me, he was like, when he got to PV, he became a Kappa and DeMarcus was graduating. So it was Ray became the one that would design the Kappa flyers. So he kind of like passed him the torch. But he was like, every aspect of that obituary, it was almost as if I could hear him like, no, don't do that. Yeah. He said, I feel like this N-word designed his own obituary. And he waited for the photo, and out of this, he'd have to tell you the story, but this weird kind of way, the funny thing is what the photo was. It was one of his favorite pictures of himself. He's like leaning with his foot on the wall, and he's kind of like looking off. That's the picture he's waiting for. And once that one was in there, it was like, okay, it's good. Even his obituary was amazing.
Wow.
The picture on the front of his obituary, he passed on a Wednesday. He took the Saturday before of himself.
Really?
Mm-hmm. He was very I was like, you did that on purpose. Don't even get me on, he kissed the back door. I found a kiss, like 2 kisses, maybe 4 days after he passed. And I was, because in my shock, I was just kind of going through the house and I was like, he would stand here at the back door and look at his grass. He would marvel at his own grass. And he was like, and as I'm standing there, I see 2 kisses. Aslan was not the type of man to like kiss the mirror or kiss something. He kissed it that day. He knew he was leaving.
How did you know it was him? How did you know?
Well, because the lips were his lips. It was the shape of his lips. And our cleaning. So he died on a Wednesday. Our cleaning crew would always come on Tuesday. So she had just cleaned it. The window was clean.
Got you.
And it's 2 kisses, and it was just a little bit taller than me, and he kissed it twice. It was like at the point of my forehead. Golly. And then there was other things that happened too. But it's been an awakening journey, and all of it, I can only give credit to the Most High for the fact that I'm even sitting here. Even, like I said, dealing with men, like.
Yeah. I know men has been, the men that don't even know your situation, they probably been trying to approach you. And
some that do.
Really?
Some that did, yeah. It was kind of like, new fish in the pond. No way. I've done blocked, had to have my number removed from like.
What?
Yeah. Like I didn't, and my dad is so funny during that time. I'm like, I'm not thinking about that. My dad was like, you watch. In the back of my mind, it's always beware of the wolves. Because it's a very vulnerable place, being a woman and a widow with 3. But my big one, he lives in Duncanville. But it's a very vulnerable place. And men be like, oh. And they don't understand. I'm different than a regular baby mama or somebody like that. Like, my kids had a dad. I'm not a woman who's single and by myself because my children never had their father. Like, no.
Yeah.
I don't need a dad. And it's been hard too with my son. They always try to be friends with my son. Like, please don't talk to my kid. Don't talk to him. Oh, no, hey, little buddy. Like,
Niggas ain't shit.
no! Like, come on. Don't be friends with my kid.
Man.
That's interesting. It's just been interesting.
You know what I could say, Portia? Like, I could, from the outside and just hearing you speak now, I could tell, like, you have matured and grown, like, so much.
From fighting you at the Laugh Factory?
Yes, like, you have grown so much in the most positive and, like, grown women way. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know, like, I don't even know if I would be able to deal with, like, I would probably just shut down. Like, if this happened in me, I would just shut down. And for you to be able to speak, I commend you for being just so brave. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, cause my mom's dad, her passed when I was probably like 1 or 2 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't get to meet him or anything, or I don't remember meeting him. But to this day, that still like affects her in certain different ways. You know what I mean? And it's just like, death is a weird, crazy thing to even wrap your mind around, to even come to grips with. Like, it is, it's weird.
It's and you have to think, so biblically, right? Like, a woman can lose her child, and I've never experienced that. I'm sure that I couldn't imagine what that feels like. Siblings lose siblings. Children lose fathers, mothers, aunties, uncles, cousins, grandmothers. But biblically, there's only one title that God has ever given out for someone who's lost someone, which is widower. Because it's such a, your life is intertwined with that person, right? There are many people who loved Aslan. His siblings, they love him. You know, even now, they're grieving in their own way.
Mm-hmm.
And aspects of your life are affected because that's your brother or your whatever, your cousin, they're grieving. But you have to think, right? A spouse, he would get off work, he come home to us. We're cooking dinner, all the little things I knew that maybe somebody else never, ever would have saw. You know, cooking or how he did this or that. Our life was together. Other people can leave. A lot of people are reminded when I'm in the room, oh, he's not here with her. I don't get to be not be reminded. It is something that I live every day, all day long. I'll never not be a widow. Like you think, like, why did God give that? That's the only title.
That is interesting now that you mentioned that.
There's no title for a mother who loses a child. There's no title. Only a widow, because that union with your spouse is supposed to be. So it's much deeper than any other relationship. Any other relationship, mother, child, like you guys are one.
And there's no word for if the wife passes and the man.
Well, no, he's considered a widower.
Really?
Widower. A male is a widower.
Because
they have men. Sometimes I've been like, oh my gosh, what if it was reversed? I couldn't imagine how many women would be throwing it at him. Oh my, and every widow or widower I've talked to, it is that, like,
really?
The men at your spouse's funeral, passing phone number, like, people are crazy. And like, I'm not thinking about.
Yeah. Goodness gracious.
So, yeah.
Goodness gracious. Okay. Well, Portia, I just want to say thank you again.
Yes.
Thank you for coming and telling the story, and just keeping Ray's name alive. You know what I mean? Keeping his name alive. Did people start acting like weird around you that kind of knew Ray? That it was just like, I don't know. Like,
what do you mean weird?
I don't know, because let me tell you, this is a quick story. While I was at Prairie View, James, James,
His line brother.
Mm-hmm. He was best friends with a guy that was on our line, that was supposed to be on our line, named Houston.
Mm-hmm.
They were good friends, and right before we pledged, remember the track? When they had, were you there when the track got into a car accident and a bunch of people died that was on the track team at Prairie View?
I think that was right before.
Okay. It might have been.
I don't remember.
It might have been because I pledged 2000, spring 2000.
So it was before that?
Yes, right before that.
Yeah, so we got there.
Okay.
We got there fall 2000.
Okay, so right before you got there. And so I didn't know what to say because him and Houston were like really good friends.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what to say, and like it because he was really going.
Yes,
he was going through it, and I was just like,
and
hey,
that's
man.
why people avoid me. Because they don't. And then too, I mean, it was a crazy time, and I'm different. I don't want everybody's hug, and people hug you. It's like, family members, not his family. Austin's family, oh my gosh, they were amazing. Like, there was no fighting. Like, none of that craziness that people deal with when somebody, not one person. Like, they're beautiful. I'm thankful for being a part of that family. But, like, people act up at funerals usually, like, who's this? I want to be. So people on the outside, a lot of people try to find status at services. Well, I was his 58th cousin. I had and so people, and not that any of that was happening, but people would hug me expecting that I would be like, oh my gosh. And I don't know. I wasn't a crier. The old Portia wasn't a crier. Now I just let it all go. It is ugly. But the hugging, and so sometimes I don't want to, if I don't know you, I don't really want a hug from you. Don't hold me long.
Yeah.
Don't hold me. But they don't know what to say, and so they just get confused or disappear. And two, even with friendships for me at this point, because there's many things I will not participate in, even for my children. They can't participate if this is happening. We aren't going. And so some friends give side eyes like, I remember, it's kind of like when Jesus went home and they didn't receive him there because they were so close to, you little Jesus, I ain't getting ready to like be listening to you, the son of God. I saw you when you was 9 with boogers, like. So people who are really close, they side eye me, which is fine. But I am different, so they don't know.
Yeah.
What I do? Stuff that I thought was funny before is not. I mean, like,
yeah.
I mean.
Yeah. You've grown.
I'm very different. I have to handle business.
Yes,
I have to take care of everything.
Yeah, man. Portia, thank you for telling your story, man.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And I know the one thing that I hear about when somebody goes through it is, like you said, people disappear.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one of the reasons why I just wanted to reach out, just check on you, just to say, hey, what's up, silly? What's up, P? You know what I'm saying? Just to
P, we good?
Yeah. Just say what's up. You know what I mean? Just to make sure.
We're fine. What do you mean? What do you want, Donte?
Just making sure you good, because I've heard that from different people where it was like everybody was reaching out right when it happened, and people just disappear.
Because people go back to their normal life. It's not as real or deep for them. But so I definitely appreciate it. I was like, you were like, I text you. I was like, I didn't see it.
Just checking on you.
Are you sure? Donte, you lying?
No. I just want to check and make sure you good. So yeah. Man, thank you, Portia. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Do you want to leave any kind of way of people getting a hold of you, or you rather not?
They could follow me on my business page because I feel like Donte Barrett came.
Why you get my whole government? Why you get my whole government? Golly.
Can you can bleep it out? Bleep it out. Can you go beep on that part?
I can, but I'm not. But
okay.
Go ahead.
Donte, it's so funny that you called and you texted at that time because I feel like I've been avoiding what God is calling me to do, and I've spoken at 2 events so far. But I feel like there's something that I just keep saying there's just things that I need to say. Like somebody needs to hear this. Somebody needs to hear, and we only touched the surface today. There's so many more things. There's so many more layers to this. But I was thinking about doing a podcast, and you're like, "Hey, come and
Really?
do." Yeah, and I was like, "Lord," and Dante. Are you trying to say I need a little bit of practice first? Because I've been trying to avoid that. It keeps coming into I had DeMarcus made my logo, and I didn't even know what it was going to be. I didn't know. Like, I was like, I just know. So, yes, you can, my business page, there hasn't been anything on it, but you can follow me on, what is it? What is that, TikTok?
I don't know.
TikTok? What's the little on TikTok? It's Venusian Oasis, as well as Instagram. You can follow me on there as well. I do put up content, just things that are motivational to women, God-driven, to help people see mostly what matters in this life.
Okay, that's what's up, P. I'm gonna hook you with my wife too. I want you to. Yeah. Yo, man, thank you again, P. Yo, thank y'all again for tapping in. This has been another episode of the Tap In Podcast, man. Holla.